right, we're going to finish chapter 10 today. Because, so it didn't come up all this time. It circles the Earth every 92 minutes. So you'll see it sometime within a 92-minute period. So how many sunrises does it see? That's a good question. And turn it off. There's what I want to see. Is that crazy? You guys nobody's seen this yet? This is what's coming. As business students, the question should be, how is this going to affect the rest of the country? How is this going to affect the economy? What's going to happen with the stock market? What's going to happen with the price of gas? Let's start with gas. That's the most obvious. What's going to happen with the price of gas coming up here in the next few days? It's going to go up. Go grab some as soon as you get out of here. You need gas. This is the day to get it. What about the stock market? If this hits really bad, will it have a positive or negative effect on the overall market? Most likely. Probably negative. So it could be a buying opportunity, but the market's due for a crash anyway. So we'll see what happens. I hope this doesn't trigger a true crash. That'd be crazy. You know, I know some of you don't remember 2008 real well. Like you may have been kids or something. I don't know. But there were several months in a row where over 500,000 people were losing their job every month. Several in a row. 500,000 lost their job. Next month, another 500,000. And it lasted for a while, so I hope that something like that's not coming again, because it was bad. And we happen to have been teaching this class in 2008 and 2009 while that was all going on. And what I recommend, if you really want to understand what really happened in 2008 and 2009, CNBC put together a documentary called House of Cards that's excellent in letting you know how this all happened, and it's all possibly going to happen again. Because they're already taking away some of the political requirements that would hopefully safeguard from a disaster being really bad again. They've already turned those over just within the last few months so that banks can start doing their thing again, which is not usually a good thing. Because they know they'll get bailed out. They take the risk. Hey, we're going to get bailed out. Let's take the risk. To them, it doesn't seem like as much risk as it should. Here we go. We left off with production lot size, and I think we almost got through the whole thing. The big hit, when you see a problem on the quiz, and you go, oh, this is inventory, it's open book, open note, but where you need to spend time before you take the quiz is, how fast can you figure out which one of the 4 inventory systems you've learned is that question asking about? Matching up the questions to which 4 of the concepts you're learning. For this one, my big hint is, it's the only one that will talk about production capacity or production rate. It's the only, if it talks about how much that machine could do, I'm not going to try and trick you and throw it in on a different problem. It probably means almost 100% for sure it's a production lot size problem. You jump to this formula, and all the points are you telling me, what is this D? What is that? Putting the right number in there, showing your calculation if you had to convert it from monthly or daily to annual. This has to be annual. Now this D and P, they don't have to be annual, but it makes it a lot easier since you've got to make that annual. You might as well save time and put it annual here. But the P has to be converted to annual also. But if I remember, is it on here or the homework? Oh, I think it's the homework. I don't want to give away the homework. But I think it says something like 1,000, demand is 1,000 a day, and production rate is 1,200 a day or something like that. And right here, you could put 1,000 over 1,200, and if you multiply both the 1,000 times the number of days they're open, and the P times the number of days they're open, you're going to get the exact same ratio. It's just been reduced because you didn't multiply in times however many days they're open, 300 days, or whatever. So what I'm trying to say is, these don't necessarily have to be both a year, but it makes it a lot easier because you have to have this as a year. If you're going to convert this to a year, why do the math to reconvert it again, leave it as a year, and now convert the production as a year? Okay. The reason I'm bringing this up is because some students who have already started on this used 1 day's worth here, 1 day's worth here, 1 day's worth here. This works out because they're both in the same interval of time, but that has to be a year, or it won't work out. I can't remember how far we got, but I want to make sure you realize you will have to know how to do the optimal quantity, the number of production runs a year, and total cost are the three main items. Let me look here. I don't have it on my notes. Yes, please. I can't remember the other item. Not reorder point, because you don't order anything. It is number of orders per year. Oh, and the reorder point. That doesn't make sense. Total annual cost, optimal quantity, number of orders per year, and I'll let you know if there's anything else. We talked about this tile company that they have to have 1 million of these in a year's time. That's how many they sell to their customers. They've been making 100,000 a time. We talked about the setup cost being 5,000. We talked about how the holding rate's 10% of $1, and that the holding rate is always in the form of $1. So when you get 10% of $1, it's 10 cents. You got to know to put that as not as a 10, but 0.10. Holding rate's always expressed in dollars, so 0.10 is 10 cents. Converted our production rate from 500,000 a month to 6 million for a year, and you'll see how this got converted to 1/6. This is just reduced, just taking the zeros away. This is really 1 million over 6 million. And then you just take all the zeros out and you get the same ratio. It's the same answer, 1/6. There's the million. Again, this is just reduced. Number of productions per year, it's demand over the optimal quantity, 346 into the million. Total cost. Total, and yes, plan on you having to calculate total cost twice on an inventory problem. How much it cost them the way they're doing it now, how much it will cost them if they change to the way you're recommending when you calculate the optimal quantity to make on that machine. And that's how it's done in this example. It's done twice, and they're saving 25,000. We talked about this already, correct? We got this far, right? Let's keep going. Idle time, that is important, but I'm not going to quiz you on it at this point. I'll come back to it if I think I'm going to quiz you on it. That's it. So next, plan shortages. The big hint on this one is that an inventory problem that's supposed to use this formula right here. It's the only problem that will talk about a backorder cost. If it has the words backorder cost in there, how much it's going to cost if you do take on a backorder policy, then you know it's got to be this one of the four. Now if you notice, this part over here on the left is the exact EOQ formula. It's this part on the right that you're multiplying by that makes it different. And that's the backorder part of it. You have this extra little formula you must do, which is the maximum amount you would ever want to do backorder. This is the maximum that you would want to do if you are going to do backordering for that particular item. Let me look real quick. Also, total cost and a reorder point. You'll also need to do total cost, which is right here, and a reorder point, which is not in these formulas because we learned it already at the beginning. The reorder point's the same for all of them. Reorder point is always equal to however many items the company will go through during the what? The what time? Lead time. Lead time and reorder point should be connected somewhere in your notes to where they are all about each other. The lead time is how much time it takes from when you order something to when it arrives, and it represents where your reorder point is going to be because you're trying to figure out how many items you'll sell during the time you're waiting for the order to arrive. So it's all about the lead time. I know we're going kind of fast, but don't forget we're recording. You're going to review on the video. We'll go fast, but some students in the other class told me you can even slow it down. You can watch it in slow motion. I don't know if that changes my voice. All right, so I want to make sure you understand reorder point. So let's say I don't remember how many this is, but let's say we go through 1,000 a year, and we're open 365 days, okay? On this item we're analyzing right now, we get from a supplier. I'm loud, I don't want to interrupt the other classes. When we get this item from the supplier, it takes, from the time we place the order, till it arrives to our dock about 6 days. So there's your lead time. The question is going to be to you, what's the reorder point? You want a just-in-time or inventory system, so what's the reorder point? What's your first thing you should do? Anybody have an idea, or should I just keep going? Anybody want to jump in with a suggestion of what to calculate first? 10. You should be saying to yourself, if we go through 1,000 of those a year, and we're open 365 days, you can calculate how many you would most likely go through then in 6 days. Because you can get the per day average. 1,000 divided by, is that my phone? I thought it was yours. 1,000 divided by 365 days will equal the amount we go through per day. And then the lead time, 6 days, whatever that is, I'm going to multiply times 6. There's my reorder point. That is how many we'll go through during the lead time. Let's try it again. This business is open 50 weeks a year. They go through 12,000 of these items per year. And the lead time is equal to 1 week. Okay, now, I know somebody can jump in and help me with the math on this. Whatever will I start? I want to know my reorder point. We go through 12,000 of these items a year. We're open 58 weeks a year, and our lead time is 1 week. What's the first calculation?
12,000 divided by 50.
There we go. 12,000 divided by 50. So we can get the per week average. And then we don't need to multiply it times anything because the lead time is exactly 1 week. If this said 2 weeks, we would take it and multiply it times 2 or 3 weeks. We want the per week average. It's just happens that we were told they're open 50 weeks, so we know exactly how many weeks they're open. We know that they're going through 12,000, so we find the per week average. The lead time happens to be a week, so once we calculate this, we know how many the reorder point should be at, or how many we go through during the lead time. However it's presented to you, what you need in your notes is lead time is equal to reorder point. That is the key. However many you go through during the lead time is how many your reorder point should be, so you don't run out. Here we go. You happen to, we decided we all are going to go in on a rental car company. This rental car company has been doing really well. We've built it up to the point to where we have 2,500 rental cars now. We have so many rental cars that as they're being used, the bodies are in great shape, but the engines are getting worn. And so instead of buying new cars, we decide to replace the engines when the cars get to that point. We have our own garage, because we have 2,500 cars. And since we have our own garage, we're replacing the engines ourselves. Well, that's all we're going to talk about in this problem is that one inventory item of all the things that can be fixed on our rental cars is the engine. And in this case, we go through an average of 8 engines a month. So 8 cars come to the end of their life, in a way, and we know that we don't ever have a customer break down on. We know this engine's already starting to have problems. We're replacing it. Because it only costs how much? $850 for the engine. Much less expensive than buying a whole new car. We go through 8 a month, but I don't know what that stands for. Maybe demand. Because that's how many we're getting from our supplier. There's a $120 ordering cost every time we place an order, no matter how many we order. We have an annual holding rate of 30%. 30% of what? How are you going to get that holding cost? 30% of, not all at once.
Item cost.
The item cost, which is $850 times the 30%. There's your holding cost that you would use. It takes 2 weeks to obtain an engine after they're ordered. For each week a car is out of service, we, the company, lose $40 profit per week. Now that, what was just described to you, without the words being used, is a back order cost. If we decide to let our garage that repairs these cars to run out of engines, and there's no engines to replace now for a car because we set it up to where they would run out for a short period of time, Every week that goes by that we have no engines is $40 cost. Back order cost in that formula, now this is key, has to be the cost of one item out of commission for a year. Let me say that again. You calculate back order cost by the cost of one item not being available, back ordered, for a whole year. So it has to be based on a year. So think about that. If we're losing $40 a week, how do I convert it? They're open all year, by the way. So 40 times what? How many weeks? 52. You found your back order cost for the formula. It's a whole year. You never have to do that with your holding cost or your ordering cost, just the back order cost. I want to point something out before we get to the answer. Oh yeah, let's do our reorder point. There's some space here. How many engines do we go through in any time period you want to tell me? Per month, per year, per week? How many engines do we go through according to the story? 8 per what? 8 per month. Now, we need to convert that for our formula, but for the reorder point, we don't have to. Because we're told the lead time is, I can't remember. What is the lead time? 2 weeks. 2 weeks. We already know how many we go through in a month. How many do we go through in 2 weeks? Huh? 4 is a half a month, which is 2 weeks, approximately. Okay? Half a month. So, what's our reorder point? The amount we would go through during the lead time, which in this case was really easy to figure out, 4 of them. When we get down to 4 engines, no matter how many we're ordering, we need to place another order. Because the time it takes for those engines to arrive, we're going to be going through those 4 of them. And right as we're putting that 4th engine into a car, the trucks showed up with our however many engines we just ordered, the next load of them. So we don't have to say, oh, we can't do that car, we're out of engines. It's called just in time. At the same time, we don't have so much money wrapped up in engines that we never run out, because then that's just wasting money that could be working for you. So that's the thing, you gotta find that balance. Here it is. 2 times annual demand. We go through 8 a month, there's 12 months in a year, we convert it to 96 a year. There's your D, always annual. Times the ordering cost. We were told that $120 no matter how many we order. When we place an order, everything is involved, we're spending about $120. Divided by your holding cost, 30% of $850, you told me. That part is EOQ. Now I want to give you a big hint here. On your homework, it's going to ask you to compare EOQ, as if we're not thinking about doing a back order, to what if we do a back order. So you have to calculate the optimal quantity if there's no back order, which is this part, just like the first problem you learned on inventory, that very first one of the 4, this is the 3rd one. And then get your Q and do total cost, just like the first one. This is it, here it is, EOQ and total cost, just like they're not even considering back order. Then go back to the same problem, and you've got to recalculate it. Now you've got to do this. You already have this calculated. Do this calculation and multiply it to find the optimal quantity if you had a back order policy. By the way, here's the back order cost in this part of it, which is $40 a week times 52 weeks, $2,080. There's your back order cost. So that's why you got 2,080, your holding cost, $255. You add it to your back order cost, divide by your back order cost, you can get 1 point something, square root it, multiply it times that number you got when you did EOQ for the problem you're going to face in your homework. The optimal quantity of engines is every time we place with the supplier, we want to order 10 engines. If we're thinking about a back order policy, what's the most we should ever have on back order? And I want to explain how to create a back order. I'll explain. The formula to figure out the most is to take the optimal quantity you just calculated and multiply that times this. The holding cost, the $255, divided by, do this addition first, the $255 plus the $2,080, back order plus holding. Now divide it into the $255. Now multiply times 10. You have 1.09. It means the most we should ever have on back order as far as a policy is 1. Okay? Now you're the manager. You say, I'm going to try this back order policy. What do you have to do to create the back order policy? You got to go to your reorder point and subtract the reorder point exactly the amount you want to have on back order. In this case, I'm going to go with the max, 1. Our reorder point now is 3. Now, visualize what happens. You ready? Engines are going into a car. We just got down to 4 of them. If we want to make sure there's engines there, we got to order now. 2 weeks are going to go by. The rest of the engines that we just ordered are arriving. But we're going to wait. We're going to wait. We are purposely going to run out of engines. And we're not reordering till 3. There's the key, by the way. Adjusting your reorder point by the amount of back order downward creates a back order because we waited to place the order. We placed our order for 10. We're going through those 3. We got a half a week left until the order arrives, and we just ran out of engines, and we did it on purpose to see what happened. I just noticed everybody's keeping busy. There's other things to do. It's just a car sitting there waiting for an engine that we could be making some money off of, and our opportunity cost, we're losing $40 a day or a week. We're losing $40. It's only going to be about a half a week, though, so it's not bad. But the back order cost, if we were to lose that $40 every week for the year, it's going to cost us, because if we implement this, that means there's always a car waiting for an engine. It's back order, it's on back order. It's going to happen over and over again, and it's going to cost us $2,008 approximately. All right? Let's figure out if there's any benefit to that. How much money would we save? Because this happens to be a situation where if we do run out of engines, no one's going to get upset. We're not going to lose a customer. Matter of fact, many rental cars are reserved, and we'll make sure cars are there for the reservations. The person that may not get a car is like me. There's a lot of times where I'd get off a flight, didn't have time to reserve a car, and at airports, those rental car places are like one right after the other. I don't know if anybody's ever seen them. And I would just run up to one. You got if I'm paying for it, I ask for a compact. If the company's paying for it, I say, you got a sedan, you got a midsize, you got a luxury, midsize. You got a compact. No, I go down to the next desk. I don't hold it against them. I don't say, oh, I'm never going back to Hertz. They didn't have a compact. I got another desk just like 5 feet away. Do you have a compact? No. Someone will have one. You get a car and you're good to go. If that's who I usually make the reservation with, I don't blame them for not having a car. I didn't make the reservation. Yeah, they're going to lose the opportunity cost, but I'm going to come back as a customer if that's who I usually get it from. Right? They're the best price. They didn't lose me as a customer, and that's when back order policies could work out. It's very rare, though. It's like when you're thinking about this product, and if you don't have it, is that customer going to come back, or are they going to go to a competitor and get it right away? And will they come back eventually for something else, or did we lose them as a customer forever? And that's what has to be evaluated. And in this case, you can see at $40 a week, that was evaluated as if we're not going to lose this customer forever. We're just losing this opportunity cost. They have no idea that we ran out of engine. You know, so it's not that big of a deal. So let's implement it and see if we save money. Here, let me get to it. Oh, no, hang on. I got it here. So, what you're going to do is figure out total cost for the backorder system. And it's very similar to total cost of the EOQ. And you're going to do total cost of the EOQ because you want to compare it. But now we're doing the backorder total cost. In this case, you have 3 parts instead of 2. The holding cost, the ordering cost, and the backorder cost, and you add them together. Let's look at the formula. See the Q minus S squared? That's the optimal quantity, which it said we were supposed to order 10. The S is the maximum backorder, which is 1. So 10 minus 1 squared is 9 squared, which is 81. Where's 81? 81 times 255 is right here, and 2 times 10. Q, the number order is 10, 20. Let's go to D, times ordering cost. How many cars, engines do we go through in a year? 8 times 12 was like 96, I think, is that right? 96 engines, oh, there's the number. A year, ordering cost, 120, divided by, how many should we order? 10. Now, here's the part you haven't seen. It's the maximum back order, which is 1, squared. Don't get me wrong, there's usually a number different than 1. You may have to square 12, you may have to square 10, 20. I think your homework problem's like 30-some back orders squared. Your back order cost, $2,080, $40 times 52 weeks, divided by 2 times Q, 2 times 10. Then you figure it all out, add them all together, the yearly cost is $2,288.75. If I did this all over again, based on EOQ, first of all, the reorder point, or the amount we order would no longer be 10. It'd be a little different. So the Q would be a little different. Oh, there's a whole other formula, what am I thinking of? But the total cost will be slightly different than this to see what the effect would be of that back order. And the odds are, as long as you stay within the constraints of not going over the maximum back order, which is 1 in this case, this will almost always be a less expensive number than the EOQ. And that's the whole reason why some companies purposely do back orders, because they come out ahead and save money. And they know they won't lose the business, that the customer will either come back. It happens to be something that's unique, something that there's not a lot of competition for. And that's what this, and as a manager, you know, that's your job. Help you save money. And if this isn't going to do much harm and it saves us money, let's implement it. Airlines learned this a long time ago. They used to say, we got 32 seats on this plane, we're booking 32 seats, and then they hope they arrive. It took a long time for them to realize they need to book, if they have 32 seats, they got to book 34 or 35 reservations, because they have such a close profit margin, they need to try to have every seat filled up. And if someone shows up and every seat's taken, have you guys ever been in a plane? Hey, would anybody take a round trip voucher for any time in the next 12 months if you get off the plane? Has anybody experienced that or just me? Raise your hand. Okay, you guys know what I'm talking about. This happens all the time. It's because airlines learn, hey, not everybody's going to show up to the flight. We need to overbook. It's an overbooking policy and trying to compare to a shortage. But there's all kinds of companies that do these crazy things on purpose because they realize how much money it saves them, as long as it's not going to do too much harm. The airlines have taken it almost too far, and they are starting to do some harm. And I think they're pulling back. But I want to tell you, I almost always took the offer. You know, one time I was in Boston or Chicago, and they offered a free round trip in the next 12 months, a free hotel stay, dinner, and breakfast the next day. And I think it was like an extra $200 or $300 or something, and I was all over it. I mean, I can wait till morning to take my flight. Sure. If you can, if you don't have something so important, get off the flight, take the money and run. The bad news is that plane ticket, it expires in a year. You know, and you almost got to take a flight and figure something out to use it when you get to the end. Everybody do the total cost and knows how to compare. And you're going to be taking that number and comparing it to EOQ, and you're going to say how much it would save if they take out a backward policy. Last one. Blah, 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 blah. Here we go. EOQ with quantity discounts. Where's my formula? Right here. Whoa. Hang on. Right here. EOQ with quantity discounts. This is very common. This is a very common situation. I'll make sure you're ready for it. As you will, eventually you'll be someone who's involved in doing some buying from a supplier. Once that supplier realizes you're the contact person, they're probably going to bug the heck out of you a little bit because that's their job. Their job is to try to get you to order more product and to continue ordering product and to see if you have any problems and to help take care of them. But they really want you to order more product. And they got a special going. They want you to order more product and they're willing to offer you a discount. Hey, if you just buy, you're ordering 200. If you just go up to 300, we're going to give you a 5% discount on the whole order. And a new manager who hasn't experienced this before will almost always say, yeah, let's do it. You're on 5% off, man, and I'm going to be a hero around here. I just say the company 5%. When really, there's times where taking the discount doesn't outweigh the increase in holding costs. And you've got to evaluate that. This is the part, though, everybody starts to get confused because there's different price points, you get different discounts. Almost a lot of suppliers will say, if you buy 300 to 500, you get 5% off. If you buy 500 to 700, we'll give you 7% off. If you buy 700 to 1200, we'll give you 10% off. They have these different levels that if you increase your order, you'll get a bigger discount for the whole order. So almost every rookie manager I've ever worked with says yes to the biggest order, to the biggest discount, not taking anything into consideration. All they see is the money they're going to save. And some companies will, if you're managing a lot of inventory or you're the buyer, The more you save the company, the bigger your bonus will be at the end of the year. So, yeah, give me that big discount. But it's not always the best decision. And I want to show you something right now. I forgot about this. Let's do it right now. Look at this example right here on page 498. If you don't have your book yet, there it is. Here's the deal. When let's say, this is hypothetical, I don't even know what this problem is. Just look at that chart of prices and how many you got to order. And try to answer my questions as fast as you can. You ready? How many do you have to order? What's the least you have to order to pay full price? One or none. But you have to order one to pay full price because anywhere between 0 and 99, right? How many do you have to order to get the biggest discount? And the minimum you have to order? 300. If you calculate your EOQ, and it calculates out to 155, meaning from this supplier you should be ordering 155, will we get a discount if we go with the 155? Yes or no? Yes, we will. Should we order between 0 and 99 and pay full price at all? Can you imagine a situation where you would? Because you just calculated that you should always order at least 100 and, whatever I said, 55? 55, so you would never order less than 99 or less, right? So you can take that one out of the formula. You say, if this were a test square, you say, we would never order between 0 and 99 because the optimal quantity is at least 155. So that's the least we'll order. Now, you just calculate 155, but you're thinking about taking the next discount. If you're figuring out total cost, did you order 155 at that new price, that bigger discount at $30? Did you order 155, yes or no? No, because if you ordered 155, you would never get the $30 price. How many, now your math says order 155, so what do? You say, okay, if I'm going to take that extra discount, then I'm going to order the least amount I have to order to get that price, which is how many? 200. Yeah, 200. And you're checking your calculations, 155. But I want the biggest discount, so there's no way you can order 155. Matter of fact, what's the amount you would have to order to get the biggest discount? When you calculate your total cost for this one, don't forget there's a different total cost formula for all four of these, and we're on the last one. The number right there for Q is how many you're ordering at the price right here where C is that you're evaluating. Full price, if 155 is our quantity in that example, we would never order full price, so you just don't even calculate it. Now at the next price level, you have to order at least 100, but we're calculating 155 is the perfect amount. So this is going to be 155. That's going to be the price at 155. That's going to be 155. And this holding cost is whatever the story says the percent is times that discounted price. But hang on a minute. You want to take the next level of a discount. So this now turns into that next lower price. But this quantity is not 155 anymore. It's however many, because the optimal quantity didn't fit in the range to get that price. Now Q in your total cost formula is the least you have to order to get the price. This Q is the least you have to order to get the price. And that holding cost, it's the same percentage, but now it's multiplied times that lower price. So you can have a different holding cost and a different Q at every price point. And that's why people hate this one. Because you've got to calculate total cost at every price point to make a clear decision. And I'm jumping to the end so you can see what it looks like. We're evaluating $2.88 per item. We're evaluating $2.97.6 or whatever. We're evaluating full price, $3.20. Notice the quantities are different for each one. 900, 400, 234. This is an odd number, so it tells me the optimal quantity was probably at that price. Because that's what it looks like. And there is probably the least we got to order to get that price, the least we order to get that price. Look at the holding cost. 80 cents, 74.4, 72 cents. Whatever percent's in the story times 320 times 297 times 288 came up with these different holding costs. I want to point that out because If you're trying to do this problem fast and you have one or two of these in your future before the end of the semester, you will accidentally use the same holding cost. You'll accidentally use the same quantity here. I see it every semester. So I want to make sure you realize these are different numbers. Now, to make things worse, this is why this one's the worst, is that you have to calculate, let me show you something. You have to calculate this optimal quantity at each price level. Because the holding cost changes with 1, 2, 3 at each price level. Here's 320 times 25%, which will give you a cost of holding at 320. Here's $2.97.6 times 25%, which gives you a different holding cost. And up here, 288 times 25%. So they're all got slightly different holding costs. You have to do it for each price level to figure out which one of these optimal quantities fit the price, the amount you got to order to get that price. So let's get to the story. Now you see where I'm going with this. You ready? We've got a photography little retail place, and we sell all kinds of photo stuff. And some people are still using film. So I'll hold this PowerPoint. Some people are still using film. This one film called Zodiac film, and we got thousands of different items in here. We're evaluating this one film we get from a supplier. The supplier has been giving us a hard time trying to get us to order more, and at this time, we've been ordering $3.20. We sell it for $5.25, but that doesn't matter. We pay $3.20 for each roll from the supplier. Here's the deal. This is the hardest. If you work at a grocery store in your future, this is a big deal. This is where quantity discounts are a huge deal if it's a perishable. If it's something that only has a certain amount of shelf life, you have to be extra careful getting quantity discounts. This is where rookie managers get fired. Because if you order too many and they don't sell before the expiration date, throwing away those who went past the expiration date at full price you pay for them will always totally outweigh the money you save by saying, I want that discount. That's how huge of a mistake it was. It will always outweigh because you're throwing them away at full price. So and this happens to be a perishable. It has an 18-month shelf life. So you have to evaluate how many of that do I sell in 18 months. And if I order more than what I usually sell in 18 months, I'm making a huge rookie mistake, and I'm going to get fired. You should get fired. If you work in perishables, grocery stores, anything has a shelf life. I don't even know where I'm going with that. You ready? Holding cost, 25%. Every time you place an order, it's only 20 bucks. Ordering cost. We sell 21 rolls a week. There we go. We got demand. But how many weeks are we open? We're in the mall. We're open all year long. If it doesn't tell you, and believe me, on your quiz it will always tell you. But if it doesn't, and if I start going to the book on problems, assume all year. That means full year. You have to make that assumption. 365 or 52 weeks or whatever. They're selling 21 rolls a week, converted to annual, so 21 times 52 weeks a year. Because right now we think they're open all year long. We'll confirm this. Let's take a look. Nothing about them they're open, but here's our supplier bugging the heck out of us, like always. That's their job, and it does get annoying. And they're saying, look, we want you to increase your order to 400. We're going to give you a 7% discount on the whole order if you just increase your order to 700. If you would increase your order to 900, 10% discount. If you increase your order to 2,000, 15% discount. You just got this management position. You're in charge of ordering a whole bunch of stuff from different suppliers, and you go, give me the 2,000. You're about to lose your job soon, so enjoy it while you can. You ready? To receive the big 15% discount, you have to order 2,000, but unfortunately the film's 18-month life, let's see, what is there? 18 months is 78 weeks. We go through 21 rolls a week, 78 weeks in the shelf life period. We're only going to sell 1,638 rolls. I mean, we might sell a little more, but we might sell a little less. Matter of fact, back in statistics, there's probably a 50-50 chance of selling a little more or a little less than 1,638. But the odds of us selling 2,000 are so slim that you have just lost a bunch of money for the company. I hope you own it, because you deserve the hit. How many are we throwing away? 372 rolls at what? Even though we had a 15% discount, paid $2.72 times 372. And you'll see that it's way outweighs the amount we saved at a 15% discount for those rules. So we're not even evaluating the total cost for 2,000 ways. The other ones are all less than 1,638. So we're thinking about each of the other prices, full price and the other two discounts. I think it was 7% and 10%. Step one, calculate the EOQ, just like the first formula you learned for every price point. Here it is at the biggest discount we can take advantage of is 10% off. So the opposite of 10% is 90%. 90% of full price, 320, or not full price. Yeah, full price 320 means 10% off would be 288, right? 90% of full price. So we use 288 times 25%. That's what's going to change every time right here. Here's our demand, 1,092, however, 21 times 52 weeks. Our ordering cost, this is always a 246.31. If we want 10% off, can we order 246.31? It says, no, it's not feasible. We look back, and it says, you must order 900 to get that 10% off. When we calculate total cost for this one, Q is not going to be 246. It's going to be 900. 246 doesn't make sense if we want that price. We calculate total cost using a holding cost of this and a quantity of that. Next price. Well, what about if we take 7% off? The opposite of 7% is 93% of full price, means we could get it for this price, $2.97. Multiply that times 25%. There's our holding cost. That's the only thing changing. Do all the math. Look, it's just a little bit different. 242. When we order 242, not at that price, you have to order 400 to get that price. So Q is going to be 400, and the holding cost is going to be whatever that calculates out to when you do that total cost. Next, full price, like we're doing now. We calculate the optimal quantity, 25% of full price, just a little different than the other ones, 233. But to pay full price, you have to order between 0 and 399, I think. Does that sound right? And that happens to land between 1 and 399. You got to order 1, I guess, to pay full price. So when we figure out total cost for this price, we have to use the optimal quantity of 233 or 234 instead of a minimum quantity. We found where the optimal fits, and so we use the optimal in that. Plus the holding cost is now 25% of 320. And that you know, you look at this and you go, wow, there's a lot of work involved when you have that many price levels that you're evaluating. Here it is, total cost. It's the same formula for all three price points. Different holding costs. There's our optimal quantity because it fit at full price. Minimum, full price, 7% off, 10% off, I think. Here's our total cost. Are we going for the 10% off? We know we couldn't do the 15, but are we going for the 10% off? Yes or no? Huh? No. How much is our total cost if we for a year if we go with that amount of film to order? What's our total cost for 10% off? Is which one of these? 1, 2, or 3? 3 is 10% off. How many would we have to order? 900. What's our total cost for the year if we do it this route? 3,493 on the expenses. The holding cost, the ordering cost, and the cost of the item with the discount. Do it again now at 7% off, 3,453. Okay, we're definitely not doing 10% off. We're coming out ahead at 7% off because the holding cost is outweighing the discount up here compared to this one. Now, what about full price, 3,681? We're definitely not going full price. That's the most expensive of all. The optimal order in this case would be, hey, the supplier, we're not ordering 2,000, we're not ordering 900, but my math says we're going with 400, and I thank you for the opportunity. You order 400, and you're saving the company money. And I know it doesn't look like much. You're saving them, less than $30 a year. But you got to remember that's one item out of the thousands that are there. That you need to evaluate this for every one of them. And this class is introducing you to how it's done manually. But in the real world, you're using a software, you're just entering the information in, and it's calculating it for you. But I want to make sure, my whole purpose of doing this manually is I want to make sure you know what made those numbers up. Because as a manager, you can affect them. Once you see this, and you go, I really would like to order a 900. It just would be much more convenient for me because I have limited time. But I don't want the supplier to know that. I'm going to show the supplier this. I mean, as a manager, you see what goes into this, and you know that you could possibly say, hey, I want you to lower the quantity. I want that price, but I want you to go at 700 instead of 900. And believe it or not, they'll probably check in, they'll go da-da-da-da, or recalculate what will finally make this one be lower than that, and you just talk to the supplier. By seeing the exact numbers that go into it, you can negotiate and get that cost down, realizing, and you point this out to them and say, okay, then you're not willing to take that down to 700? Give me 400. Oh, damn, no, I could have 3 more hundred. And then they go back to their boss and they go, come on, let's give them a little, let's let them have that price at 700. We'll get 300 more right now. And they'll finally give in. You gotta always be willing to walk away. I was just helping a friend recently who sold his house. And the buyer was backing out because the appraisal turned out lower than the purchase price. And he had already put things in place that he's at a point now where he almost has to sell it. And backing out would end up costing money because of things this other house he has in place and all the stuff going on. And I said, look, if you go into this negotiation, this buyer is going to realize you have to sell it, and they're not going to negotiate with you. They've already put in a request saying, we want you to lower your price to the appraised value. I think $490 was the purchase price. The appraisal came in at $479, and the buyer says, we want it at $479. And already they took it off the market for like 3 weeks, waiting for, it was contingent on the buyer selling their house. So they had to wait for them to sell their house. Once they sold their house, they said, okay, we're ready now to have an appraisal done. And the appraisal came in lower. They're trying to back out. They're playing hardball and trying to get $11,000 off the price, right? Is that what the difference is? And all I kept saying to my friend is, it's just like any business. Any business. You got to play this as if you're the one willing to walk away. That it doesn't mean anything to you if you sell that house or not. And that was the only way to get that buyer to wake up and to negotiate. It went half and half. So he got $5,500 more than the appraisal. I think he chickened out is what happened, because I had him all pumped up. Got back to negotiations, and man, walks out, sold it, got a deal. Great, $495? No, we met halfway. Wow. All right, chapter's over. How we feel? I want to show you the homework so you don't freak out when you get home. While it's fresh in your mind, it's not due till Monday, and I know that any of you who are like me will wait till Monday, but let's take a look at it just in case you want to start at home. There's